Most people think of money as paper, numbers, or something to chase. But Bob Proctor saw it differently. To him, money wasn't just a physical object, it was energy. And like all energy, it moved in response to vibration. Not the vibration of effort or desperation, but the subtle, invisible frequency you carry with you at all times. This is where the real secret lives, not in the doing, but in the tuning. Your current relationship with money is a reflection of your dominant vibration. If you often feel anxious about finances, scarcity becomes your broadcast. If you constantly talk about what you lack, the universe echoes that back. It's not punishment. It's resonance. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are, vibrationally speaking. That's why the shift begins not in action, but in awareness. Bob Proctor often said that everything is energy, including wealth. And energy is always moving toward form, through form, and back into form. When you align your internal frequency with abundance, rather than limitation, you stop repelling prosperity and start becoming a natural match for it. This is not about wishing for money. It's about becoming the frequency that money responds to. This connection is hidden in plain sight. It's in the way you think about bills, the way you react to someone else's success, the way you feel when holding $1 in your hand. These micro-moments are not just feelings, they are energetic emissions. And the universe is listening. Always. Money doesn't have ears, but it has vibration. It flows where it feels safe, welcomed, and aligned. When you start to see money not as something outside of you, but as something that mirrors your energy, everything changes. You stop asking, "How do I get more?" and start asking, "What am I currently broadcasting?" That question opens the gateway to the deeper transformation. Because once your frequency shifts, money has no choice but to follow. Most people wake up each day already working against their own prosperity. Not because they want to, not because they choose to, but because they've been programmed that way. Bob Proctor often spoke about paradigms, deep subconscious belief systems that govern our thoughts, behaviors, and ultimately our results. These paradigms aren't just mental, they're vibrational. And most of them are set to scarcity. You may think you're doing everything right, working hard, setting goals, staying positive. But underneath it all, if you still believe that money is hard to get, that wealth is for other people, or that abundance comes with guilt or struggle, your energy sends a completely different signal. And the universe doesn't respond to words. It responds to vibration. What you feel, truly feel, becomes your energetic request. One of the most common blocks is emotional. People associate money with stress, competition, or shame. They want it, but they also fear it. They desire it, but they resent those who have it. That internal contradiction creates energetic friction. It's like pushing the gas and brake at the same time. You're not going anywhere, and worse, you're burning yourself out. Bob always reminded us that the subconscious mind doesn't argue. It accepts what you feed it repeatedly. So if you were raised hearing things like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "We can't afford that," those phrases became part of your vibrational makeup. And unless you consciously reprogram them, they silently keep you locked in a pattern of lack, even when your conscious mind is begging for abundance. The key isn't to force wealth to appear. The key is to uncover how you've been unknowingly blocking it. Once you see the invisible walls, the beliefs you've carried as truth, you can begin to dissolve them. And as they fall, you don't need to chase money. Your energy clears the path, and prosperity begins to notice you. At the heart of Bob Proctor's teachings lies a single, powerful idea. Prosperity is not something you chase, it's something you tune into. He believed that wealth is governed by universal laws, just like gravity, and once you understand these laws, especially the law of vibration, you begin to unlock a different relationship with money. It no longer becomes a goal, but a consequence. According to Bob, everything vibrates: thoughts, emotions, desires, even financial outcomes. Nothing rests. And because we are vibrational beings, constantly emitting frequencies through our beliefs and feelings, our personal energy field either attracts or repels wealth. Prosperity, then, isn't a matter of luck or hustle. It's a matter of alignment. You become wealthy by being the energy of wealth long before it appears in your hands. This principle flips the entire model of effort on its head. Instead of working harder in the outer world, you begin to work deeper in the inner one. You observe your thoughts not as passing clouds, but as tuning forks. You become aware of how often you think in terms of lack instead of flow, and how easily you slip into frequencies of worry or comparison. This awareness becomes your power. Proctor often described this process as tuning a radio. If you're set to the wrong frequency, you'll never receive the music you want, no matter how loud you turn the volume. But once you dial into the right station, the frequency of abundance, the signal becomes clear. That's the energetic principle. Adjust your vibration, and the results will follow, not because you force them, but because you match them. Once you fully embody this idea, prosperity stops feeling distant. You realize it's not about becoming someone else who is rich. It's about shedding the lower frequencies that have kept you separate from the wealth that's already available. You don't need to create abundance. You only need to stop blocking it and become a clear channel through which it can flow. You can't attract lasting wealth with the same internal blueprint that was shaped by scarcity. That's why so many people manifest a quick win, only to lose it just as fast. It's not that they weren't capable. It's that their subconscious structure, their vibrational foundation, wasn't built to hold abundance. According to Bob Proctor, the real work isn't to get rich. It's to become rich in thought, in feeling, and in frequency. Your internal blueprint is the silent script you live by. It dictates how much you believe you're worth, how much ease you allow into your life, and how you emotionally react to both gain and loss. This blueprint is formed early, shaped by childhood influences, cultural narratives, and repeated emotional experiences. And unless it's rewritten, it continues to create the same financial reality over and over, regardless of your efforts. Shifting this internal map starts with awareness, but it doesn't end there. Bob taught that repetition is key. You must saturate your mind with new thoughts, new images, and new emotional states, over and over, until your subconscious accepts them as the new default. Not as fantasy, but as truth. That's how a new frequency is anchored. Visualization becomes more than imagination. It becomes vibrational alignment. Affirmations are no longer just words. They are energetic codes being impressed into the subconscious. But even more important than technique is feeling. The subconscious doesn't respond to empty statements. It responds to emotional intensity. When you feel wealthy, even in the absence of evidence, you begin to broadcast a new signal, and reality adjusts. This shift doesn't happen in a day, but it begins the moment you stop reacting to the outside world and start designing your inner one. Your energy doesn't lie. And when your internal blueprint starts matching the vibration of prosperity, money begins to find you, not because you chased it, but because you finally became someone who could hold it. Once the inner blueprint begins to shift, it needs reinforcement, not through effort, but through repetition. Bob Proctor was clear. The subconscious mind doesn't change with logic or willpower. It changes through saturation. That means exposing your mind to the same idea again and again until it's no longer an idea, it's a belief. And when a belief is rooted deep enough, it generates a frequency strong enough to attract what matches it. This is how you activate your magnetic field. Not by forcing outcomes, but by continuously holding a new image of yourself and your life, one that resonates with abundance. The more vividly and consistently you see it in your mind, the more real it becomes vibrationally. You're not daydreaming. You're programming. Every time you repeat a thought with emotion, you impress it deeper into the subconscious, which then adjusts your frequency accordingly. Bob taught that repetition creates faith. Not religious faith, but energetic certainty. When you hear a truth often enough, you stop questioning it. And once it becomes unquestioned in your mind, it begins to reflect itself in your world. This is why people who visualize wealth daily, who affirm their worth, who emotionally rehearse abundance, often seem to attract money effortlessly. They're not lucky. They're aligned. This process may feel slow at first. You might not see results right away. That's because your old paradigm still holds momentum. But repetition weakens the old signal and strengthens the new. Bit by bit, your vibration recalibrates. And as it does, your magnetic field, the energetic extension of who you are, begins to draw new opportunities, people, and financial flow into your experience. The power lies not in doing it once, but in doing it until it becomes who you are. When repetition turns into embodiment, attraction turns into inevitability. You're no longer just thinking about money. You've become the kind of person money naturally gravitates toward, because your field now welcomes it with no resistance. There is a force stronger than thought, deeper than action, and more magnetic than words, emotion. Bob Proctor understood this well. He knew that while thoughts create the blueprint, it's emotion that gives it life. Without feeling, even the most powerful affirmation falls flat. Because in the vibrational universe, it's not what you say, it's what you feel that broadcasts your truth. Emotion is the fuel of frequency. When you feel abundant, even for a moment, your vibration shifts instantly. You don't have to wait for money to show up to feel that way. In fact, it's the opposite. You must feel the wealth first, consistently and genuinely, and then it begins to appear. The emotion becomes the magnet. But most people wait for evidence before allowing the feeling, and that delay keeps the abundance at arm's length. There's a reason joy, gratitude, and excitement are often considered high-frequency states. They're not just pleasant emotions, they're energetic signatures that attract what's aligned with them. Bob often said that gratitude is the vibration of receivership. When you feel grateful for something you haven't even seen yet, you're already preparing your energy to receive it. But emotion can also work against you. If you're visualizing wealth while feeling fear, doubt, or resistance, those lower emotions override your mental image. That's why surface-level positivity rarely works. It has to go deeper. You have to address the emotional habits you've been carrying, the fear of not having enough, the guilt of wanting more, the anxiety of success, and transmute them. Not suppress them. Transmute. This doesn't mean you have to feel perfect all the time. It means becoming emotionally aware and deliberately choosing the states that match your desired frequency. The better you get at holding emotions like certainty, trust, and expansion, the more consistently you broadcast a signal of abundance. And when that becomes your emotional home, wealth doesn't need to be chased. It simply recognizes you. Scarcity is not just a financial condition. It's a mental loop, a vibrational echo that keeps playing in the background of your life. You can earn more, hustle harder, even win big, and still feel like it's never enough. That's because the scarcity loop isn't broken through results. It's broken through belief. Bob Proctor knew that until you rewire the core programs running your mind, you'll keep repeating the same financial experiences, no matter how much effort you apply. Most people don't realize they're living inside inherited belief systems. Passed down from parents, culture, media, these beliefs become truth without ever being questioned. Phrases like, "Money changes people," "Rich people are greedy," or "I have to work hard for every dollar," aren't just thoughts, they're energetic commands. Your subconscious hears them and obeys. To break the loop, you must become conscious of the unconscious. You begin observing your reactions to wealth. not just in your own life, but in the lives of others. Do you judge abundance when you see it? Do you feel undeserving when opportunities arise? These responses reveal the hidden programs still active within your field. And once you see them, you have the power to change them. Bob often taught that the subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between imagination and reality. So if you want to rewire your belief system, you must feed it new instructions, not just once, but repeatedly with feeling. You visualize yourself already abundant. You speak words that affirm worthiness. You act as though it's already true. And with enough consistency, your subconscious accepts it as fact. Your energy shifts. Your field clears. The loop breaks. And when that happens, the chase ends. You're no longer trying to outrun scarcity. You've stepped outside its frequency entirely. You start seeing money not as a reward for struggle, but as a response to your alignment. That's when prosperity begins to feel natural. Not because it's new, but because it's finally no longer being blocked. Then, almost without warning, something shifts. The pressure dissolves. The chase stops. And money, something that once felt distant, inconsistent, or difficult, begins to respond differently. Not because you found the perfect strategy, but because you have changed. Your vibration, once laced with fear or urgency, now carries a calm certainty. You're no longer asking for wealth. You're speaking its language. It's not just the arrival of money that's different, it's the way it arrives. Opportunities feel aligned. Payments come through when needed. Random gifts appear without explanation. It may look like luck to others, but you know better. You know that what changed was internal. The signal you're sending is no longer one of lack or need. It's one of sufficiency, trust, and energetic openness. Bob Proctor often said, "Faith and fear both demand you believe in something you can't see." But now, your belief is no longer theory, it's vibration. And that vibration speaks louder than action. People begin to notice a difference in you, even if they can't name it. Life flows. Decisions feel guided. Wealth begins to circulate, not just to you, but through you. That's when you know it's real. This is the moment where abundance no longer feels like something you earn. It feels like something you are. You're not hoping to attract wealth. You become someone who naturally aligns with it, sustains it, and multiplies it. The frequency you hold is no longer reactive. It's magnetic. And money, like any form of energy, responds to coherence, not chaos. From here, the game changes. You don't just attract wealth, you live in harmony with it. And once that harmony becomes your default, you don't need to search for prosperity. You simply stay aligned and let it find you.